A CBC journalist and host Evan Solomon has been fired. This is after the public broadcaster determined he violated its code of ethics. Solomon hosted the network's politics show Power and Politics. He also hosted the radio show The House. And the Toronto Star reported that he facilitated the sale of art to people that he dealt with in his job. Now, the reporter who broke the story, it is the Star's Kevin Donovan. He stopped by our show on Live at noon today. Here's what he said.
I put it to him, this unusual arrangement he was involved in, and he said, no, I've never been involved in selling art. And then I put some more information to him, and he said, well, it's with my wife's company, and I put some more information to him, and he said, I was involved in selling art. I no longer am. It's over.
The Toronto Star alleges Solomon received commissions from those lucrative art deals involving high-profile Canadians. Solomon did release a statement last night after news had broke that he was let go. And we'll read you some of that statement now. It says, I did not view the art business as a conflict with my political journalism at the CBC and never intentionally used my position at the CBC to promote the business. I'm deeply sorry for the damage that my activities have done to the trust that CBC and its viewers and listeners have put in me. I have the utmost respect for the CBC and what it stands for. As for the CBC, it says it will make announcements about the interim hosting duties for Power and Politics and the House in the next few days. Joining us now to talk more about this is Jeff Silverstein. He's a senior communications associate with Sussex Strategy Group. Jeff, welcome to the show today.
Thanks very much, Karen.
Okay, so I want to talk about we've seen a lot of journalists who come under fire of late for potential conflicts in the CBC. What's the difference between what Evan Solomon did and what, let's say, Amanda Lang and Peter Mansbridge did in terms of taking money for speaking engagements, yet the CBC standing behind one and not the other? What's the difference?
Well, I think what's interesting here is watching the speed with which the CBC has reacted to this current crisis. They've acted swiftly. They haven't in the past. I think those examples you raise are troubling for the CBC on all fronts, and they've chosen to handle them differently. I think there are differences, and they are nuanced. But we've been watching this quite closely at Sussex because it's a crisis. It's a crisis communications issue for the CBC and, of course, for Evan Solomon. And credibility is the currency of journalism. And I think that what's happened raises all kinds of questions around credibility, obviously not just for Evan Solomon, but for the CBC as well. And
we saw Evan Solomon's statement. I mean, he's not really apologizing. He's not saying he thought he did something wrong. He's saying he didn't think he did anything wrong, in fact.
Well, I mean, his reaction, his statement, certainly when held up and compared to the way that Jian Ghomeshi reacted, I think, is a study in contrasts. I mean, he handled it much more swiftly and confronted it head on and apologized, which, is in stark contrast to the way that Jian Ghomeshi responded.
Journalists, it wasn't too long ago that there were very strict lines of what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Why are those lines all of a sudden blurred?
Well, I think that, again, it comes back to this issue of reputation and credibility and trust. And it's very difficult for viewers to trust someone who has undisclosed relationships that benefit that reporter in a financial way. So anyone watching Power and Politics now, if Evan Solomon were still hosting that show, would wonder, is he benefiting financially from a relationship with the person that he's interviewing? So the lines have always been very black and white, and journalists need to understand that they're held to a higher standard, really.
So could someone like Evan Solomon work again in Canadian journalism?
Well, I think that his future is somewhat in jeopardy. It's being investigated, and it hasn't concluded the investigation. But I think it will be very difficult for Evan to recover from this in the short term.
Okay, Jeff Silverstein, appreciate you coming in this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
It is now 2:18, 25 degrees.